Yeah, with set 9 just around the corner, I wanted to make this video because I feel like people are not talking about the decks that already exist and have already proven themselves to be playing at the very um, with the highest of highest levels in our meta now. Um, I believe that a lot of the set 9 new cards are kind of bait to the meta, and I don't think they fully represent what's actually going to be. Excuse me. And so this video will be analyzing sets 5 through 8, all the cards that I believe will still be incredibly relevant and will be even more relevant due to the cards that are gaining popularity at this time before Charlie's Collectible Show, which I will be attending, and DLC Milwaukee. Obviously, by the time DLC Milwaukee comes around, there will be a lot of tournament lists and things going on. But again, this video will just focus on sets 5 through 8. I'll mention a couple of set 9 cards due to their impact in me specifically bringing out some older cards that I haven't seen play. But yeah, again, I wanted to make this video because I've been bouncing around thoughts between set 9 and a lot of the things going on in the Lorcana Facebooks and group chats. Um, yeah, I didn't want people to forget, what still exists out there. So let's get right into it. We're going into a very low removal set and meta. There is very few cards that they're obviously trying to stay away from. We have not seen Zeus, we have not seen Storm, obviously for the better, but the only thing we got really was Strength and Cannons. Um, there's a lot more limited options and a lot less card draw that is very just flagrant, like um, very just obvious card draw. I do believe that Pop will be reprinted because of Bell, but obviously that is not confirmed yet. We do have a lot of song metas coming up. We have Powerline and all the red songs coming. And I do also believe that people are really in love with Dumbo, which I don't really understand. I think he's really good, um, but I don't see him at more than 2. He's not a stable engine to work on his own, and for that reason, I do believe that um, the meta will be dominated by him just because of popularity. Again, and I do believe that we're just kind of staying stable in the slower and faster games. I bet you Top Cut will likely see like 90% fast decks, or sorry, 90% slow decks like Control that just got really lucky, and like 10% incredible aggro decks. But I want to go right into the decks that I believe we should all be still looking at. DeCandio's Diggy still exists. All these cards still exist, and they are confirmed to be reprinted. Fire the Cannons is your new Cinderella, your new Storm Rage On. We have Resist. We have Happy for the pinging, which is super, 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 super relevant. We have Rhino with the Resist. We have the Bodyguards. We have the Docks. It's super clean, super consistent. Um, the deck has always worked. DeCandio made this deck himself. This is barely tweaked with the things that are not reprinted, and this deck is still incredibly, incredibly broken. Kiwi is another deck that has been doing, or has always been doing amazingly. Nathaniel Flint and Dump Truck are an amazing combo on turn 3. You go Mickey into Calhoun into Dump Truck Nathaniel, or you just go straight into your Alice line. You have a way to go wide every single time and quest for 3 every single time. Gantu to top it off, but Bagheera is an absolute power, and especially in a again, a low removal meta where things have to challenge. This Bagheera is super, super, super popular. Again, Vinny to top it off. I think Vinny is one of those cards that, because of the low removal and no Zeus and a very limited amount of strength, Vinny will see a lot of play. Again, John Silver to uh, mess with that, but this deck just gets even better without Madam Mim Fox and Madam Mim Crab in the meta. And this deck is going to be a powerhouse. But I do think it still falls short because of the consistency in the Diggy list. This one I do find really interesting. I think that just purple is going to be a really strong card to face Dumbo. Belle, Elsa, Iago, Genie. This is really the power package. This is just the accessory at the bottom so that you don't get beaten by Merfolk and Daisy. You tag it, you finish it, you pop the Merfolk, these are just cards that keep you alive. At the top end, you're playing the Finders Keepers to get the Cobras and finish the game into red if they get their board wipe, and they should probably get a board wipe. So again, a super solid list that plays really well. Um, Obviously, this is tweaked from JDR's actual dump dock list. You probably play magical remover or magical maneuvers to get the stock back, or up the Madam Mim Elephant. Churna Dogs, obviously they do not have Churna Bog, but I think this deck is super slept on. Especially if you know if you're going into steel, you do not mulligan for the Merfolk. You go for Daisy, you go for a tanky line, you go for the aggro. You have Clarabelle to top it off. You have the Stopped Chaos for the aggro matchups, the aggro mirrors. I think this deck is crazy. I honestly should have bumped it up in my tier list now that I'm looking at it, but this deck is crazy. And it's a deck that exists now without any reprints, right? How do you remove this when you don't have Cinderella singing Storm every single turn? You don't, and if you're playing for a powerline line, Ursula's going to strip your hand. If you're playing for purple, you're going to take a bunch of discards. This deck is amazing. This deck is very good. Again, all consistent and existing lists that I have not seen people talk about. This will be what you will see at any major tournament, at Charlie's Collectible, and probably still at DLC Milwaukee. Then going into Blurple, obviously Blurple got a lot of stuff cut with no pop. Obviously, this Diablo would probably be pop, and this would probably be Bell. These four. Krilla is super relevant going into evasive metas. Robin Hood was already teched at the end of set 8. Elephant, again, making a great appearance, but Bell is the real star player. Again, we all know Blurple, and we all know how good it is. All it needs is the Popsicle and Bell, and it is the same exact list we have seen from sets, 7 to now. So this is my tier list of existing decks. This is just something that I came across because a lot of people, again, in the chat were just talking about Powerline and how Power Sharks is going to be the new control deck. I just don't believe that. I don't believe any of that. I think that there's decks that exist that are just phenomenally better and are just proven to be just monsters, right? These decks are proven to be monsters. I'm not going to put all my marbles on buying cases just to play Powerline on debut week of Charlie's Collectibles, right? So obviously, if you see me, I will not be on Powerline probably, unless something crazy gets reprinted in the next 27 cards. I will not be on Powerline. Again, so the most notable cards are going to be Iago because of the evasive, especially no actions and a lot more songs and a lot less targeting with red. Iago is going to be an absolute monster. Ursula, obviously, it's a reprinted staple, a meta definer, a meta curver, a meta stopper. This is an amazing card. There's nothing more to be said. Pete, obviously, we always need him. 3 cards that you must have if you have the color combination, right? I think that is super obvious. But again, especially Iago, I think Iago is the one that slept on the most and the one I wanted to bring to light the most. Iago counts, we're at 2 and things like that, but he has to go up. He'll probably be up at 4. So again, you have to realize that these cards exist until you're beaten blind in Swiss and you don't even know that these cards existed. All right, we have Doc, we have Finders, we have Pull the Lever, which is an amazing card. We have Beyond the Horizon, which is an amazing card. We have Clarabelle, which still exists and is an amazing card. Jasmine. Jasmine is really interesting, but she's actually gotten a lot of support in the reprints and the new cards. There's a lot of allies, and she mimics card draw by her adding a card every time she quests. Every time she quests, you're drawing 1, basically. That is a super good effect, and it is a super cheap thing to shift on with 8 shift targets with relevant abilities. And then Desperate Plan, right? These are all cards that are going to be engines to decks that we are playing now. Besides these cards, there are a couple cards that still draw cards, but at bigger trade-offs, and so I do not find them as true engines. These are the most noticeable cards and notable cards in the set. Combo pieces that are going to be like completely untamed now in this meta. Tiana is going to be absolutely insane. If you are relying on attacking, you're going to have to pay 3 every time you challenge. So, I can definitely see this existing in a lot of decks soon. Vinny, I've already gone over it. Lady is an insane tempo shifter. She is a crazy card. She can sing strength. She can sing whatever you need her to sing, man. She's just crazy. She can shift into a big one. She's just crazy aggro. It's just nuts. Alice, obviously we put the combo pieces. It's warded. You don't have Fox. You don't have Crab. This is gonna be insane to remove without Under the Sea. And if you have Under the Sea, you're still gonna get peated. So Tinkerbell. Have you seen this Tinkerbell played in Ruby Saph? I'll probably talk about it in part 2 with developing decks, but another combo piece that is going to be untamed is going to be Mr. Smee. Mr. Smee is super interesting. There is a lot of pirate synergy and a lot of actions, cheap actions, and action reducers in green steel. He also readies pirates, which are like Nathaniel Flint, Pete, Captain Hook, things that quest for 2, things that quest for more. You also have John Silver in green steel. Making your John Silver quest for 3 and then questing 3 twice, questing 6 in one turn just because you played a Fire the Cannons on him who could have resist is crazy. I think these are the most notable cards that should see play in the upcoming meta because the meta cannot deal with them correctly. Staple removal that we have reprinted, right? We have Beast King Undisputed. We have Dwarf Mines, which we need to realize still exist. Locations are hard to remove. This has an effect to do 2 or 1 damage every turn. It gives you 1 lore. This is a good card. This still has to be played. Sisu, Dump Truck, Under the Sea. Stop Chaos is a very, very, very good card. Wrong Lever, Strength, right? These are all cards that people are going to be looking at and that you should be playing if you're playing this color combination at, 2s and 4s, right? This slide is pretty self-explanatory. I think these cards are very, very obvious. Some new removal that I've been looking into building decks. Everybody's Got a Weakness is a way to draw cards and to move a lot of damage. It is relevant. It depends on the deck, but I think this could be very, very relevant. Mob Song again. I think this could be relevant. I think Red Steel is actually a thing that can exist with Beyond the Horizon. So I'll talk about that in part 2. Things like this that do damage based on damage, I think will be really good in green steel. Twin Fire is probably one of the most slept on cards. Dealing 4 damage is absolutely crazy. A super good card. I bought foils of this. And then Panic, which is a mini bell that was actually played in a tournament in Singapore in almost all the purple top 8 lists. This is just a staple card at 4. This is a very good card. Moving damage and doing damage is going to be so relevant in this meta. It's going to be very bad if you cannot keep up. Right? If you cannot keep up and handle all these threats with the staple removal and this new removal that people may have on you, you're going to lose. Right? Going on. These are the meta killers, in my opinion. We have Pete, we have Iago, we have Queen, Daisy Duck, Ludwig, and Ursula. I'll go a little bit into some of them. Pete, obviously, well, Ursula's, self-explanatory. Pete, stop singing, and the super big, you need lever. The Queen, we'll go into after. Daisy is tanky. Actions and song-based deck will lose all their cards, and she's questing for 2 at a 1/4 body. Always has been really good, always will be really good, and will continue to be even better now. Ludwig in Puppies Amber Sapphire aggro is super relevant. He will strip your songs or your clear and then produce ink, so he doesn't have to ink the next turn and keep questing for 1. Ursula, she is a must-play from sets 5 through 8. Ursula is the best card that you will have in your deck. You run Iago for Dumbo. You run Iago because evasives will get eaten by Iago. Iago can proc Bell. Iago can proc Panic. Iago can be helped by Elsa. Iago can be ready to attack again. Iago is the #1 killer and must be ran at 4 if you expect to see evasives, especially as this meta, keeps going. And 4 clears almost everything in the game. If you're playing green purple, you have Cove. If you're playing purple steel, you have dump truck to adhere to any of the math that's occurring in the game. Finally, this is my #1 pick for what we should be looking out for. The Queen. Choose 3 cards from a chosen opponent's discard and put them at the bottom of their deck to gain 3 lore. Max Goof. Whenever this character quests, you may play a song, cost 4 or less from your discard for free, right? You want to play Bobby, you want to play Yzma, so you can find your line and you can discard the songs that Max Goof can play later. And Green Red already has a very bad time dealing with things. I think that Max Goof is a 2-of at max, and I think in Infinity he is a green steel monster. Infinity will make Max Goof a completely different guy, but in rotation, I think people are going to be baited into playing him in green red, and I do not think that's the case. I do not think anybody should be playing green red powerline Max Goof. Because Queen can get rid of the discard, and you just get discarded, you'll get outdrawn, you'll get aggroed, you're not fast enough, the deck is not fast enough to do anything. I've seen the list, and I do not believe the deck is good. Somebody can change my mind, somebody can win the major tournament, but I do not think it's good enough. Queen is my #1 pick at stopping this entire deck. You have 1 Queen proc and you choose the cards correctly, you discard their hand and it's over, especially if Sudden Chill is reprinted. You Sudden Chill and you pull the lever and then you get 4 lore or 3 lore and then you win the game, right? Because they can't do anything. Queen is the #1 stopper. Iago is the #1 stopper. If these 2 cards exist, they absolutely kill the meta, right? Ursula, again, if you get stripped 1 card and then you get Queen the next turn, you're going to lose. You open Daisy into Lady into 2 Quester, like you're going to lose, right? These are all cards that we have to understand are just very, very good. So again, the purpose of this video was to kind of just roll out my thoughts on what this meta is going to look like, and kind of reminding everybody that decks already exist for this next and upcoming meta, and to not get blinded when you're going to these events, especially something like CCS, which is within the very first week, where we don't have a lot of templates for metas. Yeah, I'm hoping that this video helps somebody to understand that there is stuff that are going to exist, and maybe the deck that you're making right now is not going to be able to compete. So, thank you, and I will see you in part 2.